Whoa! Hook 'em horns, hook 'em horns, hook 'em horns. Sorry about that. I can't say enough about this team's effort. We're worried here that people are going to think I'm a little bit more on the football team than the basketball team. No worries. I don't like doing a video after every single basketball game because, there's so many games in a season. So before we start talking about this big win we had today against Kansas, we're going to talk about, the season to this point. I said early on that I thought this team had a lot more chemistry than last year's team. And you can just see it in the way they played. They liked playing with each other and enjoyed it. Last year when things were going wrong, people would just start pointing the finger. Like, oh, it's his fault. We wanted to take the blame on himself. Everything went wrong today against Kansas in the first half. And they didn't point the finger at each other. They just worked as a team and stuck together. And they've done it all year long. They had a close loss early on against Pittsburgh, but you could just tell they never gave up. They fought hard as could be. Michigan State seemed to be a little overrated at the start of the season, but even still, they returned just about everybody off last year's team that made it to the Final Four. I think they only lost. I think one guy graduated, another guy was released from the team. But wow, this was this is quite a win. Words can't even express how happy I am. And so far this season, we've had a 2-point loss. We've had two of our 3 losses this year have combined for 3 points. So 2-point loss to Pittsburgh, and obviously the 1-point loss to Connecticut in overtime. If there's one thing I think that Texas still needs to improve on this year, I think it's just overall they need to be able to play better when Jordan Hamilton's not playing really well. He didn't have the greatest game today, but then again, he didn't force the action. So it wasn't like he just couldn't get things going. It's just that he let the game, he let everyone else do what they needed to, and he hit his shot, a really big shot there near the end of the game when Texas really needed a bucket. He knocked it down. He was, I think, perfect 7 of 7 from the free throw line. He rebounded, played great defense. Oh, this is one of the best half-court defenses in the nation. I think Kansas obviously has a very good defense as well. But Texas rarely gets beat in the open court either. They're just so good defensively. Last year, a problem that they had also that they're not having a problem with this year is the point guard. Last year, they did not have a true point guard. Balbe was not the point guard last year that he is this year. Plus, he got injured near the end of the season, and so they didn't have him for the last 6 or 7 games in the season, or the conference tournament, or the game that they played in the NCAA tournament. I think we've seen a huge maturity process for Jordan Hamilton and Jacobin Brown from this season to from last season. And I think it's obvious for Jordan Hamilton, but I think it was really, really evident for Jacobin Brown today. I think sometimes Brown still takes some shots like we would have seen Hamilton take last year, where you're just kind of thinking, you're a prolific scorer, yes, but we really don't want you taking that shot in that situation. He gets a lot of them, so he gets away with it. I sure love him right now, but there's been a time or two this year where I've been, slightly irritated with him, but he helps us out big time today, and I think we saw a big maturity process for not only him today, but for this whole Texas team. We saw Tristan Thompson go in there, knock down 2 free throws, big free throws at the end of the game. Texas is not a bad free throw shooting team. You got Johnson, who's solid, Hamilton, who's a little bit more than solid, and then you've got Jacobin Brown, who's terrific. Those are really your main guys getting to play, and then, of course, they're only 65% on the season, which is only 2% better than last year, but Thompson's really the main reason for why they're so poor from the free throw line, because he's only 49%, so he drags their percentage down a lot. I think everyone else did a great job contributing and working on getting better free throws in the offseason. It's really helped out Texas this year. They're physical on the boards. They're a physical team. They did not get out physical today. It looked like they might get out physical in that first half, but they didn't. They came right back in the second half. They hit Kansas in the mouth to start the second. Not really the very beginning, but from the 15-minute mark all the way down to about the 5-minute mark, they just controlled that game. And the thing that I loved is that Jordan Hamilton wasn't on the floor when they started doing extremely well. They were, you could tell they were chipping away. Then he left the game. Brown hit 3 big shots in a row, 2 threes back to back. You can't say enough about him. Matt Hill came in, got some great minutes this game. I think as the season goes on, our loss to USC this season was because we relied too much on Jordan Hamilton at the very beginning of the year. Now against A&M, he had 27 points. He's going to do that sometimes. But a game like today, he came through at 17 points, something like that, and he was just phenomenal. Because he got it done in different ways today. A lot of times you'd see a guy like him start getting frustrated and irritated when he can't knock down the 3, or get the ball whenever he wants to try to get in isolation, do his own thing. But he got to the line and tried posting up. He was a huge lift for this team. So was Brown, Jacoby Brown. And then, of course, Corey Joseph came through and hit a couple big shots, including the banker at the end of the shot clock. A headsy play for him to know the shot clock was down. I think he got some tips from his friends out there on the court in Orange, but he still got it done, hit the shot, hit a couple other big shots. And Tristan Thompson, Gary Johnson, Matt Hill played terrific defense today. They did a great job getting in there and getting fouls called on the Morris twins and on Cliff Robinson. They just did it all today. And they've been doing it all season with big wins. Illinois was a huge win. You got Michigan State, which I think they seem a little overrated, like I said, but I think they're going to be a legitimate Sweet 16 team by the time the season's over. They played right there with UConn, who I think were better than UConn. But in that game, it just came down to a point where it was going to be who's going to hit the shot. Is it going to be Hamilton or is it going to be Walker? And I think at this point, Walker's a little bit better than Hamilton just because he's got another year or two of experience. So I think we're actually better than UConn. It's just, it was just one play's difference. And what a game. We beat the number 2 team in the country. And another win against another ranked opponent in another game to add to our resume. This team is not going to have the debacle that last year's team had, and you can just see it when they play. Texas, they're looking really good. I have a lot of hopes for this team, a lot of high hopes, and I think they're going to keep improving as the year goes on. So, Hook 'em Horns, Texas, you're making me happy this year. You're making me happy.